Hey everyone, so we're going to Europe and we're doing a European road trip for 2 months. So that means that we're going to be living in our van for 2 months. Now because of that, that brings up some sort of like things that we really need to think about, and it's health and safety in the camper van. So today what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about all the steps that we're taking to make sure that we're safe when we're out on the road, when we're camping at campsites, while camping, travelling and things like that. Because do you know what guys, like I said, living in your van for 2 months, there's certain steps that you do need to take. So it goes without saying that because you're living in your camper van for a couple of months, if you're travelling, it goes without saying we're going to be doing a lot of cooking on the road. Now if you've got cooking facilities in your camper van, of course there's going to be certain safety aspects that you need to take into account. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk to you guys, and because there's a lot of you that do ask us about certain things, especially if you're new to van life, but today we're going to talk about some of the things. Now some of the things might seem obvious, but it's quite important to mention them. So we've got our cooking facilities here, and our cooking facilities are run by gas. Now straight away, if you're running any gas appliances that you've potentially got like a live flame or anything, goes without saying you do need a smoke alarm. We do have a smoke alarm in our camper van, and like I said, that's the number one thing. If you're doing any cooking in your camper van, the number one thing, you need to be certain that you do have a smoke alarm. The other thing that I would strongly suggest that you get is a fire blanket. Now the thing is, if you're going to get a fire blanket, just be certain that you know exactly where it is. Don't just sort of put it in a cupboard and then just leave it. Put it somewhere that's easy accessible. It goes without saying, get a fire extinguisher. Now before you just go out and get a fire extinguisher, be certain that the fire extinguisher that you actually get is relevant to what you've got in your camper van, so that it might be like a multi-purpose. So don't just go and buy one and think that it's going to be correct. Now what I would suggest is, having one is fantastic, but if you've got two, you can have one in the cab area, you can have one in your living space as well. That would make a lot more sense if you could do that, but as long as you've got a minimum of one and you know obviously where it is in an emergency. Now I know that you're watching this and you're thinking, yeah, well, it's quite obvious, get a fire extinguisher and things like that, but you'd be surprised how many people don't have one. Now I've got a suggestion here, and you might kind of think, oh, I'm not doing that, it's silly, but if you think about it, it's quite sort of sensible what I'm saying. Now if there's a family of you that are travelling, or there's more than one of you in the camper van, if there's a situation, because if you think about it, you do this at work, you have fire drills and things, maybe sort of just have a bit of a drill every now and again, that if there was a fire, you know exactly what to do. So let's just say you had a little fire or something in your camper van. The main important thing is obviously you all get out of the camper van, as simple as that. But if it's a small fire and you're able to get the fire extinguisher and things, be in a situation where as soon as you shout there's an emergency, that everybody that's in the camper van, they know exactly what to do. Again guys, you might think, oh, what's he talking about? But you think about it, you do this at work and things, and you do sort of have fire drills and that, so it'd be a good idea that everybody's on the same page. So I know you're probably thinking what's this guy talking about? Of course we know what to do in situations like that. Yeah, you'd be surprised, some people, they might not know what to do and they might panic. So anyway, right, let's move on to the next thing. So if you're using a heater in your camper van, now, quality sort of diesel heaters and things like that, they do have safety things built in and things, but it goes without saying, don't cover any vents or anything like that. Now if you are using some sort of gas type of heating in your camper van, where again there could be a flame or something showing, obviously never leave it unattended. I would suggest, if you're using a heater like that, even if you're using an electric fan heater, when you go outside your camper van, don't ever just leave it unattended and leave it switched on, because again, potentially, you know what I'm saying. So I would just, unless it's a quality diesel heater, that's got safety features built in, I would never leave any type of heating in your van unattended. In other words, when you're out, if you're on campsite or well camping, just leave it blasting while you're out. So while we're talking about heat sources, this again, you might think this is obvious, but it needs to be said. So if you've got heating in your van or anything, or it's a warm, hot, sunny day, don't leave any aerosol cans lying about in your camper van, because again, if they get heated up and get pressurized, they could explode, and potentially that's going to cause a lot of issues. If you're buying any camping equipment, that you sleep in, your sleeping bags and things like that, if you can, get the ones that are flame retardant, because that will go a long way for safety. We would never in our camper van ever use candles. It's as simple as that. In your camper van, you have a lot of wiring everywhere, especially in storage places, because that's where some wires are hidden and things. Don't be packing all your clothes and everything in there, so it's so tightly packed and everything on top of wires and things. That's not a good idea. So the other thing that you need to get as well is, and you know, for the price that they cost, it's, you know, you do need to get one. It's a carbon monoxide detector. Carbon monoxide in concealed spaces is very, very dangerous. So, you know, do get one. It's as simple as that. You do need to get one. Symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning, it's not always obvious, you know, because you might just feel a little bit ill, like flu-like symptoms and things like that, and you might just think, oh, I just want to chill out a bit, and you know, you could have some type of leak or something in your campervan, or fumes could be coming in from somewhere. So like I said, I can't say enough that, like, you know, the smoke alarm and the carbon monoxide detector, they are a must-have, obviously, along with your fire extinguishers and things. Right, let's move on and talk about more safety things, especially if you're going to be staying in your campervan for a long period of time. So if you do have a gas system in your campervan where you're cooking and things, it makes sense to get somebody that's qualified to sort of like yearly do checks and everything. You would do that at home, so you should really do it in your campervan. And just a quick tip for you, if you do use gas in your campervan, if the flame is a flickering sort of like yellow orange colour, that potentially could mean that there's a problem with the system, so do keep an eye on that. I'm just going to quickly talk about some sort of like, because we'll talk about health and safety, a couple of safety tips for you. So if you're parked in your campervan, say you're well camping for example, when you're sleeping in your van at night, always be certain that you know exactly where your keys are, because in an emergency, if you have to move, you don't want to be messing about looking for your keys. So do make certain that you know where your keys are. Keep all your valuables out of sight, you know, when you're parked up, even when you're driving as well. Don't leave sort of like your bags on the seats and things, because people potentially, they see things like that, so don't do it. When you're sleeping in your campervan at night time, lock your doors. We've done a video about this before, and you'd be surprised how many people do not lock the door when they're sleeping in the campervan at night. So just do it, because we have had a situation before when we was traveling, somebody tried to get in the van at night time, and if we hadn't had the doors locked, well, they would have been in. And anyway, lock your doors. Before you travel, get a health check done on your van. Get everything checked, like your tyre pressures, your oil. If you don't know what you're doing, things like that, probably best to take it to like a garage and just like get a health check, you know, before you travel, because if you don't do something like that, potentially you could like have a lot of problems, just for the sake of like maybe topping your oil up and things. So, you know, do get a health check on your campervan before you travel. Another thing as well, you know, when you're camping at your campsite or you're well camping, if you're using a barbecue or something like that, like outside, always be certain when you walk away and you've finished from there, or if you leave it unattended, you have to be certain that it's still not lit and it's still not hot. Pour some water over it, never go to bed and just like let it burn. So because we're traveling to Europe and we're going to be, like I said, over there for a couple of months, the weather, because we're going in summer, it's probably going to be quite warm. Now, a health and safety like thing that a lot of people might not think about is, because we're going to be staying in the van for such a long time and obviously sleeping in there, it's going to get quite hot. So one of the things that we've been doing is we've been like looking at different ways that we can keep cool in the van. Now we've got some other fans, but we've like bought some like other fans as well. And if you've got a power station as well, at least if you've got a power station like an EcoFlow that we have, what you can do is, you know, you can turn your fans on and you can pretty much leave them on all the time, because obviously these power stations are really powerful and the fans don't take like a lot of power. So that's a good way to keep cool. Now the other thing as well, if you've got pets, pets can get like really hot as well. So it's a good idea, again, like if you've got fans and things, you know, you can put them in a position where, you know, you can keep your like pets cool. Now you can buy like other things as well to keep your dogs cool, but it's really essential that you keep an eye on them. Be certain that they've got fresh, clean drinking water all the time. And don't forget as well, you guys need to be drinking plenty of water as well. So because we're going to be on the road for a couple of months, like I said, you know, there's certain things that we do need to think about. Now, if I've not thought of any like obvious things that like, you know, you'd be like saying to yourself, oh, what about, you know, this or what about that? Put it in the comments below, because, you know, any tips or anything that you guys have got, or if you've got any experience like yourselves, if you've been traveling abroad and like it's been really hot and you've been like out on the road for like a long time, if you've got any tips or anything, put it in the comments below. If you are looking yourself to get like a power station that you can power, like I said, you know, things like fans, and you know, you could probably put, I think maybe I should do a test about it at some point, like plug the EcoFlow into the fan and see how long it lasts. But I don't know, I kind of think it'd be like months or something, because they use so little power. Put in the comments below, how long do you think a power station would like power one of these fans for? But I will put links in the description, you know, if you do want to get a power station, because I think for doing a European road trip or any like trip that you're doing for a long like amount of time, I think it's essential to have something like that. An incredible 91% of you guys are not subscribed to our YouTube channel. We want to achieve over 20,000 subscribers, so please, if you haven't subscribed already, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, bye for now.